So we are also going live streaming this webinar on or this panel discussion on my Facebook page, and let's quickly move forward and tell you why we are doing this webinar first to start with. So a lot of times when one of us plans to upskill, we have these questions on where can we how can we upskill, what is best for us, and these questions we don't have an answer for. See, there's another sound coming in. Is that correct? Can you also hear this? Another sound? No, it's from my. No. All right. Okay. So I see this confusion in terms of mariners when they are looking to upskill themselves. Where do they upskill? How do they upskill? Which course do they take? Which country do they go? And they're a little confused. So they look for people on LinkedIn or wherever else. Earlier, maybe 6-7 years back, LinkedIn was not so popular, and they may not get the right answer. So what I'm trying to do in this panel discussion is we've got people who have done 3 different courses, 3 different places, and we'll take their opinion or why did they do those courses so that you can understand from them and possibly take a well-informed decision for yourself, right? I've got Captain Abhishek with me. Captain Abhishek is, of course, a master mariner. He did his post-graduation from Maritime Economics and Logistics, which is from Erasmus School in Rotterdam. After doing that, he did a job in commercial shipping for a couple of years. And then he's been into ports consulting and overall maritime consulting, right? He's director of business development in Port Exchange, and he's been ashore for I guess about 6 years or so now, maybe more. So Captain Abhishek is with us. I've got Captain Barar as well. Captain Barar is again a master mariner, and he did his college or his studies into maritime law, more focused towards the maritime law side, and he did it from University of Southampton, and later on he joined MCA, and then London Offshore Consulting LOC, and now he's marine manager in a maritime law firm called MFB Solicitors. And I've got Captain Abhay with me as well. Captain Abhay did his from Cass Business School in UK, and then he joined Great Eastern. He was there in multiple roles. I guess most of the roles were focused towards the commercial shipping side of things. He's and recently he's joined Precious Shipping, which is based in Thailand, and he is currently working from there. So that's the presenters which we have over here. What I'll do is I'll take a quick poll. Oh, okay. I can't take the poll, Tejal. Can you see if you can take a poll, please, so that we can know about our audience as well. Tejal, are you able to take a poll?
Let me check, sir. 1 second. Huh? No, sir.
Okay, Satendra, are you able to take the poll? All right, let it be. So I wanted to have a quick sense on the participants who would have joined. But I guess so any which way I'll tell you based on the registration. Based on the registrations, we've had most of the participants in the top four who were sailing as top four. And there are about say 20%, 25% who sailing as at an operations level, and about 25% who are already shifted ashore. So a few marine and technical superintendents as well. Right, that's essentially the split up of the persons who had registered. Now let's move on and possibly take our first question. And our first question is why did you choose a maritime course? Because at the time when you were probably choosing to upskill yourself, you would have had various thoughts. Where do you do it from? And but the first thing which you would decide is, and at that point of time, and now also, MBA has always been, something which de facto people go to. So if I start with you, Captain Abhishek, why did you choose a maritime course for your upskilling?
Yeah, thanks, Gaurav. Thanks for putting that question. So yes, indeed, just as you say, it's quite a confusing moment. So you're at an inflection point within your career, especially when you're looking at mid-career education. But I should say, yeah, my situation is slightly different. I really did not have a very good plan in the sense, and again, C and Beyond did not exist at that point, to be able to give this kind of information. So at that point, there was a scarcity of information that is available. So you are only looking at a very few courses out there, which can offer you something that's specific to maritime. So you can call me a little bit of a traditionalist, so typically you're out at sea and then you're thinking, okay, what is it that I can do to upskill myself? So then you look at a very small set of courses out there which are specific to shipping, because you think, hey, you have already spent so much of time out at sea. This is what you have. These are what your skill sets are. Let's kind of upskill it to a level that can then, you can put your best foot forward. So then I was researching a few courses. I had this particular course, which is in Maritime Economics and Logistics, on my crosshairs for a while. And what I really liked about this particular course was that it resonated, the curriculum resonated a lot with me. I very much wanted to learn a little more about shipping economics and how it interacts with trade. So that was my primary focus. I wanted to reskill myself and know a little bit more on that. And for me, that was the key aspect. It was just the curriculum I was that I found most interesting. I really did not research too much into job prospects after this particular course, or what kind of trajectories I could take. When right now, in retrospect, in hindsight, there are lots of things, but at that point of time, I was only looking at the curriculum.
Understand. Honestly, I was also thinking of upskilling myself. I wouldn't find MEL, so kudos to you to be able to at least find it at that point of time.
Yeah, so I did my second mates in India, but for my mates and masters, I went to UK, and there one of the lecturers, during one of my discussions with the lecturers with regards to, it was regarding trade, regarding international trade. So they had put this thing in my head that about the Center for Maritime Economics and Logistics in Rotterdam, which was highly regarded at that point of time. So that is how it came into my crosshairs, I would say.
Okay, understood. Moving on to you, Captain Abhay. Why did you choose a maritime course, and not this particular course? That's a second question, but why did you choose a maritime course as such?
See, as far as I'm concerned, I did a lot of drilling, right? And I personally believe that people should do their own drilling, because I think if you go with a clear agenda and focus on what you want, you would probably find things for yourself that other people cannot find for you. So going to a consultant is like a last resort. So anybody who's looking to do stuff like in this kind of a situation, especially when you're out at sea, you are cut off. Now, like in our time, we had no internet. There was nothing. Like you had having a mobile was a very big thing at that point. So you had no interaction. So by the time you finished your masters, finished your mates, came into the top four, put yourself in a position where you could consider, even think about doing something beyond. You had nobody to actually go to, and uh, whatever I spoke to people and whatever I spoke to my seniors, I never got anything close to what I wanted. So that has a very, very limited value because people only know what they know from their experience. If you are looking to get something more than that, then you need to do your own drilling. So when you're doing your own drilling, having a very clear understanding of what you want is very important. And that is like the hardest part, to know what you want. To know what you want is the hardest part. To go ahead, take a step forward and claim it is a very, very different thing. And it is much easier to go forward and say, okay, I want to do this. I want to do an MBA. I want to do it in UK. I want to do it in the US. I want to do it in this subject. I want to do it in this school. I want to do it in this school because they are good at this subject. Very, very different. So if you do that drilling, it's a very, very long process, especially when you don't have your compatriots doing it. Like in our case, when I was doing this, when I was looking to do something, I had gotten my command. I had gotten maybe first ship I had finished, gone back home. All my batchmates were talking about sailing, making money. I got my command early. I got my command, I think in 27. I got my command at 27. So I was ahead of the game, so to speak. And everybody told me that, boss, you are now, ATM. These are words that were used, that now you just print the money, man. Just print the money. Gas tanker, chemical tanker, oil tanker, VLCC, this DC, that DC, this company is paying this much, that company is paying that much. Go here, go there. Everybody was looking at me. I was one of the first guys who cleared my masters, got command, all that. So they were all looking and advising. Now you're ready. You should go. You should move. And I was in a position where I had to do a lot of soul searching, which I think did me a lot of good. I didn't listen to anybody. I did my own soul searching, did my own drilling, kept calling people, meeting people, doing whatever I could on the internet, calling schools up, taking information on the phone. I kept doing that because despite what everybody else told me, that I was in a very good position in my career, but I could not accept the fact that I am going to be a captain and be a master mariner for the rest of my days. I am 27, and if you tell me I retire at 60 and I'm going to be a master mariner when I'm 60 and a master mariner when I'm 27, it's something that really scared me. I wanted more. I wanted more. What I wanted, I did not know. So I would advise anybody who's stepping forward and doing this, do not look at what other people are doing, what they're advising you, even though it might be coming from a good place. But do your own soul searching, do your own drilling, and align yourself with what you are interested in, and don't go for MBA, MBA thappa laga diya. MBA thappa does not help you. It only gets your foot in the door. It will not take you the whole hog. Right. So it's very important to align your interests with the course that you're doing. And I was very clear that I wanted to stick to shipping. I want to stick to maritime trade. I wanted to be in a shipping company. I wanted to grow in a shipping company. I wanted to be ashore. I wanted to do insurance. I wanted to do technical. I wanted to do dry docks. I wanted to do invoicing. I wanted to do budgets. I wanted to do buying, selling ships. I wanted to do chartering. I found all of it very interesting. So I was looking for a course which would give me an overall position where I could get a taste of everything. And at the end of CAS, when I finished, I felt that I did not know enough about insurance. So I went ahead and I did did a diploma in marine insurance. So what I'm trying to say is that no course is airtight. No course will give you 100% of what you want. There's so many things happening at the same time. upskilling consistently through your career is a good idea. And sticking to what you really want. In my case, I was very clear I want to do only shipping. There are a lot of guys who jumped in and went and did a general MBA. I was very clear I didn't want to do that. I was very clear I wanted to be in shipping. And I was very clear that I want to do everything, that I have an overall interest. I was not just interested in chartering or not just interested in, everybody wants to go into chartering. Everybody wants to go into chartering because chartering pays the best. But it pays the best in the short term. You cannot do chartering for 30 years. There's got to be something more. So initially you talk to anybody. I take a lot of these phone calls. People call me and ask me, what I want to do this, I want to do that. What do you want to do? 9 cases out of 10 is chartering. But the point is that you never stepped ashore. You don't know what all goes into a shipping company, but you're sitting on a ship and decided I want to do chartering because why? It's like everybody wants to do a gas tanker. Why? Gas tanker, same load port, same discharge port, same cargo, same ullages. You know the pilot by his first name by the time you've done a couple of runs. So is that really a challenge? If you think about it, if I say, okay, you don't do gas tanker, you do handy. You're switching from grain to coal to iron ore to fertilizer to lumber to timber to general cargo to trucks to yachts to cars. Then which is the challenge now? Handy's challenge or gas tanker's challenge? But everyone wants to do gas tanker because it pays the best. But the challenge is in the handy. Same logic applies. So the reason I stuck on to CAS was because it gave me an overall perspective. It did not give me everything I wanted, but whatever it did not give me, I compensated from other places. So that's my 2 cents.
Sorry. Thanks, Abhay. So good to know you wanted to stick to shipping, and and what you said, that knowing what a person wants to do is very difficult, honestly, and that's the hardest part. Once you know that, then everything gets into place. You're on mute, Abhay. You're on mute, Abhay.
I'm saying that if you sort out and iron out what you really want to do, that is a bigger challenge. You should know your target first. Pointing and shooting is very easy. Knowing your target is very difficult.
Sure. Thanks for your inputs. Moving on to you, Captain Amarinder. So again, the same question. We were at crossroads at one point of time, and choosing a course, we could have done anything. So you wanted to get into the maritime law side, or so why did you choose a maritime focused course?
Actually, I can only echo Abhishek's and Abhay's comments. But what I worked on was actually container ships. And what happened was that after promotion, you get a good ship. And after you are settled in rank, chief officer or master, then you get crappy ships. So they know that, you can run those ships very well. So, and same with the quality of crew. So out of 3 officers, you'll get 1 very reliable officer and 2 lalu. So this is a fact of shipping. Let's admit it. And let's not name companies. It's happening everywhere. So what happened was that over a period of time, I had so many incidents at sea. वो किसी की report बनाओ भेजो वगैरह, and I was always curious what is happening after my reports have gone from the ship. So first of all, and secondly, after 2 contracts in as master, I was bored. Like Abhay said, I was on a liner run, so the pilots by face. You are calling the same ports frequently. There is no new challenge. So after 2 contracts, I was bored. So I thought, kya kare? And then I enrolled into a course by distance education from WMU, just to learn a bit more about marine insurance. And that was quite easy. 8-9 months work studying remotely. And then it suddenly opened my eyes ki yaar ye to bahut aasan hai. We shippies have a lot of knowledge which we are unable to put across effectively, correctly for jobs or for to present ourselves ashore. So I was looking for something to build upon my marine insurance knowledge. I was fortunate enough to be calling Malta. So Malta mein there is IMOCA Institute, International Maritime Law Institute. I went over there. So udhar ki entry requirements I was not meeting. I researched a bit more. I was calling UK as well. So I discovered ki the places to study are either UK or Singapore for law. So I went in for UK. But if you ask me in hindsight, did I make a proper decision or did I make a decision with everything? No. You can never do that. You know, I would have maybe about 70% information, and then there comes a time when you go with your gut feeling. कि यार कर लो, क्योंकि the other thing is कि shipping is cyclic, world is cyclic. So आज जो what worked for me 5 years ago is not the political, social and work environment in UK. Similarly for all other places, especially after COVID. So what worked for me may not work for others. But decision, if you ask me, did I have 100% information? No, probably at about 80%. And then you make a decision based on gut feeling. Yaar, kar lo, ho jayega kuch na kuch. Just take a chance. Because looking back, if all of us look back, shipping में हमने जब join किया था, did we know everything about shipping? Nothing. PC में हम first day I remember ऊपर on the pre-C hostel सारे बैठे हुए सारे बात कर रहे हैं, and none of us, very few of us knew about what we are entering into shipping. So it's the same with any job, any education. You can never have 100% information. You can never have 100% foresight. Hindsight doesn't apply. There comes a time when you have to take a risk, when you have to take a call and do that. But one thing I was clear ki bhai, if I've spent 17 years at sea, I don't want to lose this knowledge and start competing with a fresh graduate who is come out of university and who is of a better nationality, who has better connections with uska chacha, mama, vagera, they are into chartering or other things, because a lot of these jobs they are based on networking, and we do face I wouldn't say discrimination, but we do face restriction based on our ways of speaking and where we have come from. So it's better to admit it and to move on with that rather than saying कि यार मैंने ये कोर्स कर लिया, सब कुछ मेरा हो गया, ठीक हो गया, मैंने इतने पैसे भी लगा दिए, बट मुझे जॉब नहीं मिल रहा इसमें. So and CAS में भी I remember I did meet somebody who's also studying in CAS. So CAS was also on my crosshairs. But as time went by, once I did my correspondence from WMU, I moved to maritime law. And just to recap, I never had 100% information. Jitna hai usse, you go ahead, have confidence in yourself, and ho jayega. There's no doubt in that. But just have confidence and conviction.
Amar, so my thinking, a lot of people, they keep asking, कि मैं ये करूंगा, 1 year I'll invest, I'll lose 1 year's wages, I make this commitment, I have a kid coming, I have, I just got married, I got this, I got that. What if I get into all this, I don't get anything? That's the biggest fear. I'm like, boss, you're 27, 29, 30. Your worst case scenario is you go back to the ship doing what you're already doing. So what is your investment? 1 year. You are telling me in a 60 year, you're going to work till you're 60. You cannot pull in 1 year for yourself and say, okay, this is my investment for myself, just for me. How much do you do in life, which is for yourself? Either you're doing for your parents, or you're doing for your wife, or you're doing for your kid, or you're doing for others, you're doing for the company. How much time do you actually spend for yourself and say, okay, this is my 1 hour where I will do what I want to do, and I will sit and read this book for 1 hour, or I will watch the TV show that I want, right? Even you watch TV, you want to take out, you have to compromise somewhere where you feel, okay, we can both have interest in this, so we should both watch this. You know what I mean? So my sincere advice to anybody who's out at sea and wants to do something more. There are many people who are happy in 6 months or 4 on 4 off करके जो भी कुछ sweet deal मिल गया, what they think is a sweet deal, and they're stuck to it. उसमें कुछ खराब नहीं है. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good way to make a living. I think being out at sea is the cleanest money you can make. So there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to come out to sea, come out, get off the ship and come ashore, just understand one thing, that if you are sincere And if you are clear in your mind, in your heart, that boss, this is what I want to do, and nobody can put more effort in this than myself. Results, I don't guarantee, but effort, I guarantee. Invariably, you land on your feet, whatever you choose, whether it's law, logistics, commercial. So have that faith in yourself and take the call, move forward. A good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow.
Very well said.
That would
Very well
be,
said, Abhay.
that
Yeah,
would be my,
correct.
that's the, the juice of, all of this.
Yeah,
So don't have a fear of what if it doesn't work out. What will not work out? You're going to work at sea, you're going to work here. You're going to be insincere at sea, you will be insincere here as well. You will get the backlash of that wherever you are. So have the sense that, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to land on my feet and move forward with your interest.
absolutely, Abhay. Makes a lot of sense. So, you even don't know whether, if you are sailing, and whether your job will be there after 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, right?
Correct.
We need to upskill ourselves, and we need to be,
And
and
also
then
one more point, that by the time I got 27, 30, I had enough of sailing. I'll be honest. I was single. I wasn't married. I had no liabilities. There's no reason for me to stop sailing. But I think I did too much too fast. Like I got my master's when I was 25. I was mate at 22 or something. On my 22nd birthday, I remember birthday party, chief officer ka birthday party. I remember. I did too much too fast. I got saturated. I was like, boss, enough is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. What else can I do?
yeah. Good to know.
So
Abhay.
that also happens.
Moving on to the next question, and that's about how did we choose this particular course? So what I understand is that yes, you wanted to get into the maritime space, and you would have, say, researched, and especially Abhay, you would have researched. You said you did a lot of research, right? And so you would have had 20 or not 20, maybe 10 different courses which you would have researched. Why did you choose base, which is, which is what CAS is now called? So why did you choose this particular thing only? Because of the curriculum, is it?
Curriculum, foot in the door, more pointed towards what I wanted to do. So having said that, I came to CAS, I looked at WMU. Okay, I prepared my papers, I sent everything to WMU. I got admission, but they said that you need to pay for the course. You will not. So I went to FOSMA and I got a letter from FOSMA saying that, I'm part of the foreign blah, blah, blah. And I went and tried to get scholarship. Some Japanese companies were giving scholarships and things. I didn't get a scholarship. Then I thought, if I have to spend this kind of money, then I must look at something better, because WMU is purely for people who are on the policy making side. If you want to join MMD, you want to join IMO, you want to do stuff like that, then yeah, then it makes sense. And you'll meet people in the course also who come from that kind of a background. I did MEL, I checked Erasmus, I checked IMLI, Malta. IMLI at one point was very serious on my list, but I didn't do it because same reason. I did not have, you need to have a bachelor's in law. Now I sit and do a bachelor's in law 3 years, I can do it in Bombay University. But 3 years I put in for bachelor's in law, then I go for a master's law, then go to IMLI. That means I'm investing like, 4, 5 years. It didn't work out. So what I'm trying to say to you is also that you need to know what doesn't work also. I try 1,000 ways of making a light bulb. I failed 1,000 times, but then the one time I succeed, that's all I need. So I keep giving this example to people, they're very smart, but people laugh. Like I tell somebody, you see a pretty girl, okay, standing on the corner of the road. It's raining. She doesn't have an umbrella. She's getting wet. You have an umbrella. You have 2 choices that time. You can go offer her the umbrella and talk to her, or you can take her umbrella and go home. Protect yourself from the rain. You have 2 choices. If you go walk up to her and you talk to her, you have a 50% chance of success. If you do not go and talk to her and you walk around the corner and go home, you have 0 chance of success. So you need to take your chance. Go talk, meet, speak. You'll get some kind of a feedback, right? I spoke to people who were, I was teaching at ARI at that time. Senior masters were there. I went and asked them. They gave me all kinds of advice. But one guy, the Captain Mehndi Rata, who was doing chemical tanker course, I went up to him and he gave me full kind of spiel. ये वो ऐसा कर, ये कर, वो कर, ये try कर, वो try कर, ये try कर, वो try कर. मैं सुना 15-20 मिनट इधर-उधर बात किया and I started leaving. But 3 o'clock when the, when the class is finished, I walked out. I was walking out. He happened to be walking out same time. He said, "Okay, I'll drop you home," and all that. He sat down in the car and he kept giving me some kind of funda. Finally, I could not hold my curiosity and I asked him, I said, "Sir, why are you, I don't know you from anywhere. Why are you being so supportive? Why are you giving me, why are you spending so much time with me?" He told me something which, you get by living life. This is something, you don't get, you can't read a book and get this. He told me that some people who are driven and want to do, will do. Whether you support them, you don't support them, they will find their own way. So it is better for you to support them and give them your 2 cents, because later on when he becomes successful and does something in life, you can tell him ki boss maine tere ko us samay madad kiya tha, to abhi now you need to do something for me as well. Because he's going to get there anyway. If he's driven and he's focused and he wants something, he will get there anyway. You cannot stop him. Your support or your not support will not change his course and trajectory in life. So it is smarter on your part to support.
Nice one. Good one. Move on to Captain Amrinder. How did you choose the university? And you also did a lot of research. So how did you zero on with this one, please?
It was same, once I had zeroed in on maritime law, because insurance builds up into law very easily. So I went to Emily, same, you need to have a bachelor's degree. I didn't want to do a bachelor's degree again. WMU, I had done already one course by correspondence. So this time I wanted to do a course which was full-time attendance, because I had a gut feeling that is better than correspondence, especially when you're trying to get a job. And I'll come to that, why that worked out better in a different question. So UK mein there are 2, one is Swansea, one is Southampton, and there is one NUS Singapore. So Singapore, I left it out. I wasn't keen on going to Singapore. And UK mein there was a tight fight at that time between these 2. Swansea was slightly cheaper by about 2 or 3 lakhs. But University of Southampton mein the lecturers, they are the authors of the law reference books. So if you are learning from the people who are writing for the practitioners, I thought this is better, because आप जानते हो सीखते हो, and a lot of time lectures में lecturers, they mention some things which are not there in the books वगैरह. So looking at all this, I decided to come to Southampton, and yeah, that's it. So nothing more on that.
Good. So essentially what you also did is you also researched the lecturers, the professors who are teaching at a particular university, and then that helped you to make your decision.
Exactly. But as I said, shipping is cyclic. So that was there in 2014. Uske baad thoda dip aaya. Now it's rising up again. So it does matter ki from where you are learning, from what institute you are learning, from whom you are learning, who's lecturing you, and who your cohorts are going to be.
Sure.
Okay, so I just add one point here. Okay, people are like, nahin, main Harvard jayega. Okay. Now you go to Harvard and you do Harvard law, it means something. You go to Harvard, you do an MBA, it means something, right? You go to MIT and you say, okay, I'm going to MIT and I'm going to go do engineering. It means something. But Harvard also has a course in engineering. MIT also has an MBA. So what you do and from where you do it makes a difference. I can do MBA from ICFI. It doesn't mean anything. So when you're picking, pick wisely, because you got only one shot at doing this. ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं कि it's a death sentence. People start, they can do another executive MBA at 45 or at 50. It's not a death sentence. But pick wisely. Pick one, pick for it and commit yourself to it, whatever happens.
Yep, makes sense. So it's not just the university, it's also the course, what you do.
What you do and where you do it.
Where you do it from.
Correct. Absolutely.
Match. That has to match. Just
Correct.
because I went to Harvard and I can do political science at Harvard, yeah. What does it mean? He went to Cambridge. Cambridge जाके क्या किया? That matters, no? Oxford गया, Oxford जाके क्या किया? Oxford में PhD किया, Cambridge में PhD किया, मतलब it has some weightage, right? I can do PhD from JNU also, yeah. Why will I go all the way
Yep.
to Oxford or Cambridge?
Yeah. Moving on to you, Captain Abhishek. Why did you?
It's very similar, Gaurav. I mean, I think the points that Abhay and Captain Rar make are extremely relevant. So that was one of the key factors for me also to choose MEL, because I had already chosen the curriculum. I knew I wanted to specialize in trade and economics. And in trade and economics, when you're looking, if you just look at the at the university rankings, Erasmus School of Economics, which runs this course MEL, that comes in the top 25 economic schools in the world. So, and again, you're looking at, मेरे को थोड़ा सा वो academic वाला कीड़ा था. So, I was, something that was always playing in my mind ki, bhai, I want to write up. I thought ki, there are lots of, master mariners, and we have so much of immense knowledge from the field. But how we then, and then you have, a parallel track where you have a lot of these academic work that is going on with respect to maritime, with respect to maritime field, with respect to ports, and wahan pe all the people are complete academics. So I thought, I could be that bridge between academics and practical knowledge on the field. So wo thoda sa keeda tha mere ko. So yes, that was one of the reasons why I chose this university as well. So when you're looking at research, when you're looking at the professors who are teaching, they're definitely at the top of the game.
One thing just came to me is being a bridge. No, this is something that everybody talks about. Three, four people have told me, but they don't understand one thing, that you are not the only master mariner there. There are plenty others, right? So being a bridge is great. You can do that. And, eventually what happened with me, I became not the bridge, I became an interpreter. I used to talk to technical and commercial. Commercial says, I want to put this ship on this particular trade, this particular charter. It's getting $3,000 above the market. I got this, blah, 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 blah. I am not going to back off because this is like, it's compromising the ship's earnings. I can't put this ship on the same damn trade. Ye, wo. I want to put this ship on this trade. You go to technical like, nahi, jahaj ka band baj jayega. Ye ho jayega, wo ho jayega, blah, 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 blah. So then you tell technical. So eventually this happened. It happened twice. We left. We had a COA, right, which was intense trade. Usko chhod diya, right? First time chhod diya. Market went up. Boss went nuts. He says, we left this bloody COA. We should have bloody stuck our guns, and you all should have told me. So we said, no, sir, in the meeting we decided, pulled out minutes of meeting and showed him. He says, no, you should have told me. I was wrong. We should have, you should have put your foot down. Hey, boss, this is just, like it's just being unreasonable. But see, those guys also, they're not talking out of their hat here. 6 months later, same COA came back again. Demand is high. They launched a second COA, went back again. This time, boss like, nahi, mere ko mangta hai. Again, technical came back, said, nahi, jahaj ka band baj jayega. We have to, OPEX goes up, this. We said, okay, fine. What will the OPEX hua? Ship side damage, extra moving ropes ka itna cost, wear and tear, workshop. Okay. ठीक है, डालो. कितना डालना है, डालो. Just make a budget. What will you got XYZ budget? It will escalate. Yes, it will escalate. Okay, fine. How much will it escalate? You put your worst case scenario. So where the budget was 4,700, it went on an average of 5,300. So I told him, sir, aap mana kar rahe ho to take this. You're clearly making $3,000-4,000 more on this trade. An extra $500 is not going to break anybody's back. You increase your budget by $500. Yeah. Let us see at the end of the 6 months, at the end of 6 months, where we actually land up with the OPEX. And we'll keep an eye on this ship. I will help you. We will help you. My department is all for you. We will help you. So I went and convinced technical. I went and told commercial, put the two together, and deal happened. Finally, OPEX went from 4,700 to 4,900. I was like, boss, for $200, we left this thing. We left the COA last time. So eventually, when like what Abhishek is saying, when you get off the ship, you speak one language. Once you come ashore, now you have to speak 5. Between insurance and technical and commercial and MD and whoever, everybody is talking a different language. Everybody's got a different set of priorities, right? You go to insurance will tell you that, okay, this incident happened. I want this. Did the master do this? Did the master do that?
We've got
Report.
maybe another 20-25 minutes before, the timelines.
Sure.
Just
Go
need
for
to
it.
move on. Yeah. So and thanks to the fairly good inputs, but we just need to kind of move on to the next few questions. And I'll just go back to Abhishek once again. And Abhishek, so did you look at any distance learning courses as well at that time, or you were only focused on full-time courses as well?
Yeah, to be honest, mera kya tha na yaar, I wanted to take a break. Okay, it was more like I wanted to take a sabbatical from sailing. It was not that I was enjoying my time a lot, but my daughter was at that point 3 years old. We knew she's going to get to school after a year. So that timing was kind of absolutely right. So we thought, चल यार, एक साल चलते हैं यूरोप में, थोड़ा सा घूम लेते हैं, and साथ में एक course भी कर लेते हैं. And that was the whole agenda, I wasn't too serious about it, I said, yeah, timing is absolutely right. This is the only time we'll get to be, together as a family. And that was the main thing, So as I said, I really didn't plan it as well. I thoda bahut research kiya tha, but yeah, for me it was all about the timing.
Absolutely. Okay. How about you, Amar?
Similar, actually. I had a daughter, which was Pehli wali. She was about coming to 3 years. Choti wali, she was just short of 1 year. So Pehli wali ke, I missed the milestones. Dusre wali ke saath, I wanted to spend some time. So same family ke saath time spend kar lete hain. And same thing, what's the worst thing? Back to sailing. What's the best thing? Baat ban jayegi. So just went in for that. And the other thing, at least for me, is that I already had a postgraduate diploma by distance education. So I wanted to experience full-time college. And secondly, my thinking was that jo full-time college mein aapki networking hoti hai with your classmates, that cannot be done in distance education. So which turned out to be right. For example, in my class, we were 146 students. So maybe about 30-40 ke saath we're still in touch. Bakiyon ka thoda vague idea hai kaun hai, kahan pe hai. But aaj, for example, if there's any issue in legal, right from Peru, USA, Mexico, Africa, going across India, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, we have contacts ready. Ki yaar, we need assistance with this. So I think that is a very big that was a very big attraction to me कि आपके classmates के साथ जो networking होती है and how it improves your career prospects, if not, just increases your reachability in general.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason for me.
Makes a lot of sense. And also during our time, we didn't do any college, right? Straight away after 12th, we all went to see. So it gives us a chance to sit in a proper college as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I can just add there, so for the longest time, I also had this thing behind my head, everybody in my family is bloody doctorate, sabke paas degree hai, and मैं खाली, I don't even have a bloody degree. Yeah. So वो भी था दिमाग में, somewhere in some part. I mean, as much as you wanted to deny it, and from the kind of mindset and the generation we grew up, we always thought, a degree is kind of very important, yeah, life, man. Okay, I mean, I won't recommend that to anybody now. I'll say, yeah, now it's hardly relevant, but at that point, yes, I did. That
Okay,
was
two
also-
things, boss. One, though, distance learning, no value. Don't do it. Unless you have very, very serious limitations, don't do distance learning. For me, it's a blanket no. Just don't do it. It's a waste of your time. If you just want to be half-ass it, the most important thing over here when you're doing something like this, is you already have the cushion. Yeah, I want to go back to sea and I'm going to make
No, I
fucking
think
crore.
that is also one other thing,
Don't
because
half-ass it.
marine superintendents, technical superintendents, who or maybe persons in the commercial as well. So once you have transitioned ashore, and then you are probably looking to just get promoted within your own company and all, then probably and I'm assuming that's the time when distance learning would be beneficial, and maybe leaving all of that and then doing it full time. That's then when I feel distance learning could be considered, or like what Captain Barar did. He wanted to sail for another year. He said that ठीक है अभी sail करना ही है, तो sailing के साथ साथ कुछ पढ़ाई कर लेता हूँ. I think those are the times when I feel probably distance learning could be considered.
Yeah, and distance learning may one more thing. You need a lot more commitment. It's very easy to drop it.
Correct.
You need
Yeah,
to
for sure.
fulfill your assignments, push your this, bloody be there for the exam. You need a lot more commitment to do a distance learning course than you do to do a full-time. When you're full-time, you're there. Right? So again, don't half-ass it, because you're only going to do this once in your life. One point over here, somebody's put Jayan Pillai. It does not matter where you are, do your higher studies, unless you are an applicant for a job, employers do not care. Boss, you don't need to do a higher degree. Okay, it's not compulsory. You can get a very decent job doing based on your performance. You move up in life. You don't have to have a degree.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's a very important point that Abhay makes. The kind of market that we are in, having an extra degree doesn't really set you really apart. You look anywhere abroad. I mean, if you look at, हम लोग master mariners, we think, अरे भाई, once we step ashore, we'll get into chartering and operations. If you look at people who have come straight into chartering and operations, their age profile is much less than us, with much less experience. यहाँ पे high school graduates join us as graduates, as operators, high school graduates. So just imagine 5 साल में what kind of experience he has built, and what more he or she can do later in life.
Right.
And also, same Jayan has put over here, higher education puts you at a higher level of wisdom and knowledge. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
No, it doesn't.
Just because you went to CAS or MEL or IMLI, तुम्हारे सर पे सींग नहीं उग जाएंगे. You are still the same person. Understand that nothing. This degree is not going to make you a different person. Okay. In fact, there is a big downside to having a degree also. I don't know if that will come up later in discussion, but we can discuss it. There's a downside to it.
Let's move on to the next question, Abhay.
So
And
yeah,
I
let's
think we'll
discuss
come
that
to
at some point.
Yeah, we will have that question coming up. So I think to you only, Abhay, the key learnings that you had during this degree time and course time, and how did it help you in your career?
See, one though, my biggest thing, right? Now, this is a personal choice. I was longing to go back and study, put my head down and study, have a curriculum where I had to do a 9 to 3 class, then go to the library, sit, research, produce papers, study, give an exam. I was longing to do that. And when I went to CAS and I went to the library, and suddenly I could see there was everything there. You could do economics, you could do how to launch an IPO, there were bloody books there on Kama Sutra, whole range. just to have that access, to this world of knowledge, that was a big plus for me, especially after like 12, 13, 14 years at sea. That was one. Second, people that you met there, backgrounds. People were there from the age of 25 till 50. Master mariners, non-master mariners, ship owners, kids, people whose parents were in chartering, broking, 40 different nationalities, 60 different nationalities. How many people you meet, that many people, that much exposure you get. So when I went to CAS, I realized, boss, this is not just about dry docks and technical and operations, and that's not the best you could hope for. There is more. There's much more. You can do insurance, you can do, there's so much, there's technical, there's insurance, there's finance, there's accounts, there's fleet management, there's fleet personnel, there's chartering, there's buying, selling, scrapping, there's so much. How much you want to do, what you want to do, you can pick that entire. Suddenly, I realized it was not one color. It was not the sea is blue. There's a blue and then there's a rainbow. There's 7 other colors there, So that was the biggest learning, that suddenly your mind just suddenly went, wow, life beyond gas tanker, oil tanker, chemical tanker, DC, ye karo, wo karo, ye course ticket renewal. Suddenly you went out and there was like, oh my God, I can do so much. There is so much. This business is so huge. It is so international. It is so many people. I mean, I could send an email, get a job in Cyprus, send an email, get a job in Greece, send an email. I could be in Singapore. I could be in London. I could be in Norway. Suddenly it just exploded. That was my biggest learning. Forget about the academics.
Correct. The holistic growth that you have in your personality by talking to different persons from different facets of life, I guess that's the key learning of studying full time in a course. To you, Captain Amar, what was your key learning and how did it help you?
देखो मैं it helped me both professionally and personally. So a few of my sailing staff, they are there in the audience. So they also know I was quite reserved at sea. But they are better friends with my wife who was sailing with me than with me. So when I moved ashore, first of all, it helped me get out of that mold. So मेरा ship पे भी यही था, भाई पूछोगे मैं जवाब दे दूंगा, otherwise I'll just keep quiet. And I expect you to do your job. And then I realized, yeah, this is not how humans work. Humans की emotional needs वगैरह भी है. You need to थोड़ा सा उधर पे भी you have to keep an eye on people. Whereas sea पे था, यार तुम्हें तनख्वाह तो मिल रही है, खाना तो मिल रहा है, अब काम करो. So it helped me break out of that mold. So personally, it did help me how to in learning. How do you interact in a society, which working for 17 years at sea, because my holiday time was very little, so I got command at 28. Quite similar age at that. So my holiday time was less. My social interaction was low. 12th के बाद straight away joining sea. So in that sense, it helped me improve myself personally. Professionally, ठीक है, knowledge है, बढ़िया है. You come to know, you learn about a lot more things. The other thing what I liked about maritime law is कि shipping जो है, it converges at that place. In the sense कि ठीक है, आज आप COA की बात कर रहे हैं, COA में आपका ये OPEX बढ़ गया. Damages, you were used to certain amount of you are assuming certain amount of expenses, you are assuming a certain amount of income. उसमें अगर कोई dispute वगैरह होता है, then it comes to us. Similarly, disputes between terminals, disputes between lines. So law is not only laytime demurrage, admiralty भी है, collision भी है, general average भी है. So it's the whole wide range of subjects that you actually learned and skipped through in your chief mate's time. Just as an example, there's an incident ongoing where I went and attended. So it starts off with a simple grounding. The grounding, say it has gone to CTL, H&M has paid out, चले गए वहां से, bunker removal चल रहा है, cargo removal चल रहा है, general average debating, declare करे ना करे, pros and cons, why should we do it, why should we not do it. वॉइस फ्रस्ट्रेट हो गई नहीं हुई, बिल ऑफ लीडिंग कहाँ से है, is it a sanction cargo? एक दो केसेस ये भी देखे हैं where when P&I discovers कि भाई ये sanction cargo है, and because it's out from the London market, they just say sorry boss, no cover for you. So some unfortunate ship owners from Middle East, तो incident हुआ and they are left holding the baby. And they say हमें नहीं पता था charters कर रहे हैं. यार पता तो होता है सबको market में, but somehow sanctions वगैरह थोड़ा strong है इस side में. So all these things suddenly you see, and each case is different. So you can't apply a boilerplate template कि भाई ये चीज ऐसे चल रहा है. For example, कल परसों एक केस आया मेरे पास, वो कहते यार इसमें फटाफट दो मुझे टेक्निकल इनपुट. टग की लाइन टूट गई, टग की लाइन वेंट बैक एंड हिट द टग, एंड वो टग कहता मेरा लाइन रिन्यूअल चाहिए, मुझे विंच रिप्लेसमेंट चाहिए, और मुझे इतने दिन लगे, मेरा पर डे मेरा इतना लॉस हुआ, तो मुझे ये भी चाहिए. तो नाउ you are in the middle of the chain, charterer हो, ऊपर ओनर हो, नीचे टग वाला है. टग is a different contract, which is a very draconian contract. तो suddenly you realize कि भाई shipping में जो हमने चीफ मेट के टाइम पे एटलीस्ट जो हमने स्किप करके चले गए थे, वो that all comes back, and I like that. So that was my takeaway कि भाई जो हमने पढ़ा है, back to that, reading it in detail, and you're applying the legal template on it, on those facts. And sometimes we have to tell the clients ki yaar boss sorry, it's better to settle now rather than going for litigation. So unlike the common view, lawyers don't make money either. The rules are quite stringent. We have to focus on judgment and keeping the cost low as well. So kai baar we tell the clients ki settle kar lo, kai baar we say chances अच्छे हैं. And there's a word that we use, we are cautiously optimistic कि भाई हाँ बन सकता है, but we are just above the 50% range over there. So this was my takeaway on professional side कि भाई जो हमने सीखा था, या जो हम थोड़ा सा हम करके स्किम करके चले गए थे in chief mates, all that you study back in detail. So it was not unknown to me.
Thanks, Amarinder. Personality development also, is a key thing when you do such courses. How about you, Abhishek? Key learnings, and how did it help you?
Yeah, for me, the key learning or the takeaway that I definitely have from Mel is about building the network. Okay, I think the network that I have built now globally, I wouldn't have been able to do that without having done the Mel. I mean, just as Amar says, it helps you personally. It helps you to grow personally. There is no doubt about that. If I compare myself as a person, what I was like 10 years back, I've definitely changed. I've definitely become far more vocal about my own thoughts and opinions. There's no doubt about that. Okay. One more thing that I did realize, after doing Mel, is when you start seeing, bigger conglomerates, executives there, who start making different comments about the future of shipping, you realize that this is something that even I can do. If this person can do, this person is giving that particular opinion based on half-baked knowledge. I can probably make it far better. And for me, that has been, in fact, that is how I have also evolved into getting involved into the decarbonization and digitalization debate. I knew that I can be part of this change. When you're looking at a systemic change to the industry as such, initially I was thinking, I'm just a small part of this, but now I realize, you can be the change maker here. You can be the one who's shaping how the industry is going to perform, or how it's going to be behaving in the next few years. So and that that mindset has come to me only because of having been at Mel. I mean, that being said, probably I would had I done some other course within shipping, maybe I would have done the same there. So for me, at least, it has checked all the boxes, I would say.
Just one thing for the benefit of people who are listening: when you get off the ship, you think, "अरे ये chartering कर रहा है, S&P कर रहा है, ये कर रहा है, वो कर रहा है, बहुत difficult होगा, complicated होगा." मैं आपको इतना, one thing I can give it to you in writing. There is nothing that happens in a shipping company where people are launching rockets. Okay, it's very, very straightforward. Just don't ever hold yourself back saying that, can I do this? There's no can I. Figure out how. There's nothing in a shipping company that is so challenging that somebody of average, above average intelligence cannot do. And if anybody is holding anybody back, it is you yourself.
Yeah, and what Abhay is saying now, so that mindset is something that you cultivate quite easily when you do a focused course. You start cultivating that mindset. So it really helps. It definitely helps.
Right.
देखो एक sorry just something to add कि भाई आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशन होती है कि भाई हमें डिग्री मिल जाएगी यहाँ से एंड जॉब लग जाएगी दैट नेवर वर्क्स बट what happens is that if you're smart enough in that course you pick up a lot of other things, network, personality development, education, networking into the market, maybe your project आपने किसी के साथ किया या कोई आया visiting lecture के लिए, you talk to them. So a lot of these things go on, and I've shared a image. Probably it's a bit ahead in the seminar, but that's what people think. यार आपका your career trajectory was a straight line or it's a step staircase. Whereas it's like थोड़ा ऊपर गई जलेबी थी. You are lost. You spend some time, 3-4 months over there reflecting कि भाई क्या कर रहे हो, and then you go up some more time. So और ऊपर करते हो, and then at the end you reach up there. So in my last 3-4 jobs, for example, when I did my maritime law, I applied in the London market. वो कहते भाई तुम tanker background से नहीं हो, you are not eligible for it. So did my law degree help me with that? No. But my next job, surveying, it helped me with that because it helped me break away from pure cargo to any kind of ship. आज अगर आपने survey certification की बात करनी है about any kind of ship, especially वो जो chapter आप 16 में you would skip, for passenger ships only. वो they are all well known to me thoroughly. तो उससे क्या हुआ, then I worked with LOC में मैं I'm advising somebody, but what I learned in LOC was कि यार कोई भी काम चल रहा है, similar to what Abhay said or even what Abhishek does, is कि भाई at the end of the day it is finance that is driving. कोई भी project है, आपका कितना आपने उस पर खर्चा किया, कितना आपको उस पर profit आया, and what is your rate of profit. अगर आपका profit 10 million in 20 years and there's a project which is giving you 2 million in half a year, I would straight away focus my energy on that half a year वाले में. So what's your revenue regeneration rate? So all these things धीरे धीरे you start learning, which is not there in a degree, but it is there in the job. And if you step up a bit, you learn more. It makes you a better person. So when you go start talking to somebody, you say, "यार, by the way, इसका देखो cost benefit analysis इसका इतना हो रहा है. Do you think it's worth going in for that? We'll fight for you, but we don't think it is viable to do that." कई बार ego issues भी आ जाते हैं, especially in law. कि भाई, we are right, we want to do that. But कई बार the legal costs are disproportionate to the quantum and common in charter party disputes where amount has gone into escrow and you are not clear कि भाई वो escrow का split किस range पे होएगा. It's never at 50-50. It's somewhere in the middle. So all these things you keep on picking up at every job, at every role, at every project, and that is what you have to do. So which is not there only at in your course. So this is how your career trajectory is actually there.
Very well said. So essentially what you're saying is that from a typical ops role, which we do on the vessel, we try to, broaden our scope to maybe a finance kind of a role, OBD kind of a role, a change maker role is what these kind of courses help us in. Great.
Actually, अगर आप, sorry, if you have done a dry dock, depending on the company, some of them that I worked on, they had this NS5, ABS NS5 system. So you could see the project timeline of a dry dock. So if you're smart enough and if you've done a dry dock, ठीक है आप जाओ करो, but don't focus only on what's happening on the ship. ये भी देखो यार super क्या कर रहा है, क्यों कर रहा है. Sit down with him, वो शाम को उसके साथ have a beer with him. He wants to talk. He wants somebody to talk to. उसको पूछो ये क्यों कर रहे हो. तो वो जो tips जो आपको देता है, that is someone, an expert who's been doing it for 10 years. वो आपको सीधा उसमें से key points देगा भाई, this is what I'm looking after, and extra जो है I'm pushing it up to the owners. मेरे बजट में ये था, ये unbudgeted है. So as I said, I worked on crappy ships. So एक ship में I was sailing with a fitter, and not many people would do, but center line girder below the hatch cover, उसके running sea में हमने repairs किए हैं. Cracks थे हमारे ship पे. I won't name the ship, but उसके लिए वी वर गिवन अ फिटर. उस टाइम पे आई लर्न, अच्छा भाई इसमें ये स्टील लगता है, इसके ये वेल्डिंग रॉड लगती है, उसकी ये प्रिपरेशन है, उसको ये करना है. बट बिकॉज दैट चैप वाज फ्रॉम नॉट फ्रॉम द रेगुलर बजट, ही वाज फ्रॉम द रिपेयर इमरजेंसी रिपेयर बजट. उसका टाइमलाइन पे आई हैड टू कीप एन आई हैड टू शो कि भाई ही इज बीइंग यूटिलाइज प्रॉपर्ली. उसको ओवर टाइम भी नहीं देना ज्यादा, बट उसको गारंटीड ओवर टाइम से कम काम भी नहीं करवाना. सो ये जो चीजें हैं, ये इफ यू कीप योर आईज एंड ईयर्स ओपन, यू विल लर्न अ लॉट यू एट सी एज वेल.
Sure.
So just at the risk of taking time, I think this is just one point. I think most important, very important point to put across for the benefit of people who are listening. यार, I don't want them to feel कि भैया हम आके आधा घंटा निकाल दिया, कुछ मिला नहीं. But when I was at CAS, right, they used to have these. No degree gives you a guarantee of a job. Okay, it's about how you move, how you network, how people perceive you, how you put yourself across. All those things matter. So being open to listening to people, very important. One point. Second point, you don't know where good advice will come from. Bus conductor can also give you very good advice. So don't be judgmental about, oh, this guy is my junior, this guy is my senior, this guy is good, this guy is bad. He's from here, he's from there. Does not matter. Your ears are open. Listen. Very important. I went up to a lady. I wanted to go into investment banking. Okay. There's a lady there for head of HR of Goldman Sachs in London. She is like target audience of, like target audiences for me. You'd never reach that woman. She was there at CAS. I had my resume in my pocket. I went up, I gave her my resume. Immediately, Udari at the mixer, I introduced myself, I spoke to her. She seemed okay. She seemed receptive. It was a big, well built, I shouldn't say, but, black lady, right? A black ethnicity. Not somebody I would approach, not somebody I have any familiarity with. But I spoke to her. She seemed nice. I kept talking to her and I was comfortable enough to give her my resume. She opened her purse, took a pen and corrected my resume then and there itself. There were like 50, 100 people around us. She opened it and she read it and she corrected it. And she gave me a card and she said, you send me your resume on Monday. You should use buzzwords. I was like, boss, this is no way in hell anybody in this building could have told me that. She is sitting there. She knows exactly what she's looking for. She's telling me what she's looking for. I could be anybody. I could just a kid who walked off the street. She doesn't know what my background, who I am, where I come from, how much money I have, how much my mother loves me. Makes no difference. She's looking at you as you are. Okay, I had the confidence enough to come up to me. Obviously, he wants something. Obviously, he's driven. Obviously, he's ambitious. Right? You put that 2 and 2 together in the first 1 minute. I sent her the resume the following weekend. I got a call from Goldman Sachs. I did 4 interviews with Goldman Sachs. I got the goddamn job as well. It's just my goddamn luck. 2008, the market tanked. They handed out pink slips to everybody. All interns, no more internships, no hiring. And then I had a job in June. After 6 months of interviews, I did not have a job in September. My visa was running out. So the moment the market tanked, Lehman Brothers crisis happened, suddenly in September, October, I found myself looking for a job again, at which point all the leads that I had been running on for the last 6 months had all been dried out. All those jobs were taken by my batchmates. I could see them go, right? So just hang on. So my point being that this is a very huge learning for somebody who is coming into this kind of a field. It just gives you an opportunity, a foot in the door, a stepping stone. Rest is all up to you.
On that note, Abhay, is there anything which you could have done better? Something which you probably missed during that time? Would you want to share any such thing which you probably?
If I knew now if I knew then what I know now. See, the thing is, honest to God, I was 30 years old. I spent the better part of my adulthood at sea, right? I would never have known any better. That was the best I could do at that point in time. Yes, I feel okay. If I had known, I should have done more, focused more on this and tried and done more of that. But I don't think I could have done any more. At that age, with that kind of maturity, that kind of life experience, I put my heart and soul into it. Uske jada, I don't think I could have done any better. But if you really push me into a corner and ask me, and I would say, yeah, talk to as many people as possible. That's very, very important because books go like that far and no more.
Okay, makes sense. Abhishek, how about you? Is there anything which, in hindsight, if you feel you could have done?
Yeah, absolutely. Hindsight is always clearer, no? Hindsight is always clearer. So so I'll tell you. So for one, I would definitely plan better. At that point, my plan was not clear. I did not set up proper goals or strategies for myself. So I'll definitely, plan.
Is it me
Yeah,
or?
network, yeah.
Yeah.
Network,
No,
yeah.
it's him.
So maybe if you want to go ahead.
Then,
All right. Okay, you're back. We
Ah.
thought we lost you. So if you could repeat, Abhishek.
yeah. So what I was saying is, Gaurav, so I will definitely want to plan better. Yeah. Oh, okay. सही से plan करो, what is it that you want to do. I mean, that plan you will never stick to that plan. That plan will always evolve, but at least have a certain plan. And next thing is about talking and getting more perspectives from more and more people. So that I did not do. I just did not do that. अपना सोच लिया. I thought, हाँ भाई चलो, let's go with my gut instinct and let's do it. Okay, which is not bad at all. You should trust your instincts. There's no doubt about that. But it is always better to also take multiple perspectives. Finally, you have to make your own decision, but take these multiple perspectives from different people, from different facets of life, which will help you make a better decision.
I guess that's typical of mariners. I was also the same. Did things without talking, discussing. It's important to take guidance from people. You do whatever you want to do, but talk to people. Totally agree. Amrinder, how about you?
I would differ from Abhishek in the sense that, for example, like Abhay said, he was quite ahead in his sailing career. So not many people know that I was rejected by MMD during assessment for second mates, for chief mates, because company ने बोला promotion है. Oh, I failed out with a ticket. I didn't. मेरा ticket clear था. It was in MMD, but chief mate का, but I didn't collect it. So when I went, I did my college and everything, and when I went for sea time assessment, वो बोले देखो ये साला delivery date. So delivery date से sea time count होएगा, not from the date of passing the exam. So थोड़ा disappointed, went back to sea again. So I lost some 8-9 months of sea time in that. तो वो फिर से करके आओ. I'm never good at mugging up things. You ask me कोई चीज कहाँ पे, I know exactly वो book में वहाँ पे वो चीज में उसमें reference है. So this affected me in my orals as well. But the point is कि भाई जो भी किया जितना भी किया कर करके 28 पे कमांड मिल गई थी, COC पहले हो गया था. But उसके बाद जो भी लाइफ में किया, that was all if you keep your eyes and ears open, there is a learning experience in that. तो अगर आज आप बोलो कि भाई मैं कुछ डिफरेंट करके मैं अगर यहाँ पे पहले पहुंच जाता, तो आई थिंक द आंसर इज आई वुड नॉट बी हियर, बिकॉज वो जो चीज जो मैं मिस कर जाता, जो उसकी लर्निंग पॉइंट था, वो नहीं है. अभी मेरे पास जो एक वो फोल्डर है ऑफ माय रिजेक्टेड सीवी, सो इट्स एट अबाउट 430. तो वो दैट आई ऑलवेज कीप. कोई भी मुझे यहाँ बोलता है सर यूके में जॉब नहीं मिल रहा, ये नहीं हो रहा, आई सेड देखो सीवी का रोल है टू गेट यू टू इंटरव्यू स्टेज. सीवी का रोल ये नहीं है कि आपको जॉब पे ले जाना है, और इंटरव्यू में 2 रोल होंगे. तो इफ यू आर नॉट गेटिंग इंटरव्यू कॉल्स, देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग इन योर सीवी. यू आर नॉट मैरिंग इट टू द रोल प्रोफाइल. आपका कवर पेज उसमें मैच नहीं हो रहा है. Maybe your CV is too big, maybe it is as per the Indian standards, maybe it's not set up as per the industry where you are trying to get into. तो ये जो भी ये सीखने को मिला है, ये I would not have gotten had I done something different. So my answer is no. Yes, in hindsight, I could have done things better, faster, but had I done that, I would not be here today. I would have been somewhere else, and I don't know the answer. वो कहाँ पे होता? तो जो experience मिला उससे time में मिला, वो patience, सबर, वो रखो, वो होएगा. Have conviction in yourself. आपका time आएगा, but just keep on forging ahead. Don't slow down. कुछ ना कुछ करते रहो. You will not lose out on anything. उसमें कुछ ना कुछ सीखने को ही मिलेगा.
Right. Great. Let's get back. Let's to do our last question, which is your recommendation for the listeners. I mean, we have been suggesting things, but if you would want to summarize your recommendation. And so Abhishek, I'll come to you at the end. We'll probably have your slide at that point of time. But if we start with Abhay, and after we do this, then the Q&As in the chat window, then we will take the Q&As in the chat window. But the last query from Abhay, your recommendation to.
Recommendation what? Recommendation to which school you should go to?
No, recommendation on what should a person do right now who's now looking to basically upskill. Anything specific?
It depends, yeah, which level you are at your career, what your sailing background is, what you want to do next in life, what your target is. Do you want to stop sailing just for the sake of stop sailing? Or do you want to, do something more? Do you want to make a career? Or you just want a job, right? People have different expectations. There are people who don't want to slog. There are people who don't want to do more than is required. So, I mean, it's very hard to give a one-size-fits-all answer, but if somebody wants to go into a career and make a career, and obviously I'm assuming if you want to study and you put that commitment, you want to do something more in life. If you want to do something more in life and you want to do something in the commercial background, then you should target something like CAS or an MBA, depending on where your faculties lie. If you want to do something with law, you should do IMLI. If you want to do something with logistics, Southampton, Erasmus, MEL, either one, all three, I think you could pick what suits your liking better. If you want to do something with policy, then WMU. If you're asking me black and white, that's my long and short.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a very generic question and difficult to answer. So we will come to it. How do you do your career planning? Maybe we can come to it at the end. From you, Amarinder, what are your suggestions?
Before I answer that, I was reflecting what Abhay said, Gaurav, तुझे मैंने बताया था help करी थी, now you're successful. मैंने तेरे को advice दी थी. So,
Absolutely.
building up on that. So, I would say, देखो, choice ना life में it changes. आपके एक चीज what no one has mentioned so far is कि आपकी फैमिली कमिटमेंट्स होती है, और इंडियन कल्चर में अपने पेरेंट्स वगैरह को भी संभालना, इन लॉज को भी ध्यान रखते हैं हम लोग, वाइफ वगैरह के साइड में भी, और कई बार भाई बहन भी होते हैं, तो फाइनेंशियल एंड फैमिली कमिटमेंट्स भी होती हैं. तो एंड दे चेंज, लेट्स से एवरी 5 years इफ यू लुक इन योर करियर, तो आपके उसमें दोस कमिटमेंट्स चेंज. तो फॉर द सेलिंग स्टाफ माय सजेशन वुड बी कि आप अपना सी टाइम सबसे पहले फटाफट खत्म करो. सी टाइम करने के बाद व्हेन यू आर वेटिंग टू डू मास्टर्स, डू अ कोर्स बाय डिस्टेंस लर्निंग. उसके दो फायदे होते हैं. एक, आपको एडिशनल डिग्री मिलती है. अगर आपने कंपनी में भी अप्लाई करना है, 2 मास्टर मरीनर खड़े हैं, एक आदमी विद द डिग्री, यू आर अहेड इन द गेम. दूसरा, यू आर गेटिंग अ फ्लेवर ऑफ समथिंग विदाउट incurring an additional cost. The total cost of such a degree is about 2 to 3 months sailing wages. और sailing के time में उतना निकालना is not a problem. फिर lot of people talk to me about, sir, UK में आना है, ये करना है. So I ask them point blank, यार तुम्हारे बच्चे कितने बड़े हैं? उसका रीजन है, बिकॉज उसका इमिग्रेशन पे और बच्चों के एक्सपेंस में इट अफेक्ट्स दैट. तो फैमिली कमिटमेंट, बच्चों की एज वगैरह, ये सारा कर करके, एंड आपका डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट फ्लेवर यू हैव गॉट व्हाइल सेलिंग, आपका आई वुड से गो टू सी एंड बियॉन्ड, गो फॉर एक्सपर्ट टॉक, 3-4 लोगों से बात करो, मेक अप योर माइंड, डू व्हाट यू वांट टू डू, फॉलो योर इंटरेस्ट. इफ यू फॉलो योर इंटरेस्ट, यू विल बी सक्सेसफुल. डोंट, बिकॉज मेरा इंटरेस्ट है नॉट इन आर्ग्यूइंग बट इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या चीज है, क्या है. अभय का कुछ और इंटरेस्ट है, अभिषेक का कुछ और है, गौरव का कुछ और है, और बाकी लोगों का कुछ और है उनके जॉब के अंदर इंटरेस्ट. बट इफ यू डू समथिंग दैट यू रियली लाइक, यू विल बी सक्सेसफुल. नो वन विल बी एबल टू catch up or even stop you from succeeding in those roles. So I will not be able to recommend a particular course, but I would say sailing के time पे पंगे ले लो, try to find what's there, get command, don't leave before command, get maybe 2 or 3 contracts in command and then leave. And that is the time, then don't look back. Then फिर वो just forge ahead in wherever you have joined.
Thanks, Amar. Thanks. Good points. Let me, 1 second. I will share your presentation, Abhishek, and okay. Here you go, Abhishek. Your thoughts, your reflections, your recommendations, please.
Yeah, it's very much a recapitulation of whatever we have spoken until now. Yeah, okay. सबसे most important thing is you have to drill down on what's important for you. Okay, and like what Amar says, your family commitments are quite on top. So you have to think exactly your family ke saath, how does that, if you want to go and do this course, does it actually gel with your family? Okay, think about what kind of line do you want to go into. Okay, and there I will say, ki boss, if you have already decided to, the first time you already get a thought ki bhai mere ko I don't like sailing, I will recommend, boss, the day you think the next contract you leave, don't stay on, because ek to you are a safety hazard on board, you will make life horrible for everybody on board. And yeah, I mean, sailing is not the cup of tea for everybody. Yeah? And let's face
I
it.
agree.
You have to be able to enjoy your time at sea. The moment you think this is not for me, quit, kuch aur karo, because you can always do something. I mean, imagine the kind of skill sets that you have developed over at sea. That is immense. To get that kind of experience, people have to put so many years, working here ashore. And we have built up that, like managing people. We start managing people from the age of 20. People don't get that experience out here. So you have to use that transferable skill sets into whatever you want to do. ऐसा नहीं कि भाई मैं खाली जहाज ही हूं, I've only done ships. Those are transferable skill sets. You are managing people in a highly risky environment. It is amazing. You tell somebody to, you tell that to people, they'll be like, that's considered to be very, very valuable. So you need to drill down and then think कि भाई क्या मुझे पैसे बनाने हैं, if that is the most important goal, then probably sailing is better, or probably you have to also think about where do I need to go, because let's say you think that bhai, I will come to Europe and yahan main Qutub Minar and Taj Mahal banaunga. That's not going to fly, because it's a very socialistic structure. And if you're looking at, you want to like keep growing your revenue base, then probably the US or Dubai, that is where you should be thinking, or India. That is where you will be able to grow your money quite quickly. So drill down on exactly what's important for you, and family commitments are extremely important. Number 2, I will say is, create goals for medium to long term. Think 10 years ahead कि भाई मुझे कहाँ पहुँचना है. And for that, I will typically look at different people. What have they done? Not one single person, but look at different persons. क्या किया? And then try to create a picture for yourself. Where is it that I want to be in 10 years? And that will evolve. But always have that one goal in mind. ठीक है, मुझे यहाँ कहीं पहुँचना है. And then reverse engineer. कि अगर मुझे वहाँ पे 10 साल में पहुँचना है, कि then what do I need to do right now? What kind of skill set do I need to develop right now? How do I keep developing myself? That continuous improvement, Joy, that is very, very key. Try to have that mindset of continuous improvement. That is something that we, while out at sea, we kind of are laggards there. We are not improving ourselves. We are quite nice in whatever we do, but then we are not improving ourselves. So that is kind of important. Then when I talk about, have a plan, and there is, there's something called ABC planning. Mera funda nahi hai. This is by Reid Hoffman, who's the founder of LinkedIn. So ABC planning mein kya hai? Ki plan A is what you're doing right now. Okay. And plan B is that how do you pivot into doing something more, something better? Think of, for you right now, like whoever's in this call right now, for you, that plan B is, I will do a midterm education and pivot into, let's say, into commercial. I'll pivot into chartering, or I'll pivot into something better. Or right now you say, nahi bhai, mere ko course nahi karna hai. My plan B is I want to get into maybe technical superintendency. Mujhe superintendent banna hai. That's your plan B. And then comes plan Z. Plan Z, sorry bhai, if all this fails, kya karunga? And for you right now, for most of us right now, I will think our plans, yeah, sab kuch fail ho gaya, I will get back to sailing. But 5 years down the line, your plans will again change. So that you have to imagine that all this is in a continuous state of flux. Keep deciding what is it that you're doing right now. From here, how can I get better? Start your own business. Set up your own kuch software kar diya, YouTuber ban jao, okay, TikToker ban jao, usse paisa banao. You can do that. I mean, everybody has their own things, and it's not funny because, like, I know one particular second mate who then became an operator. He was horrible at his job. Yeah, sorry to say, but he was horrible at his job. Simply horrible. ठीक है. उसके बाद जो है, he became a TikToker, and now he is famous. He's famous. So that is his calling. That's his calling. So you have to find what really interests you and what suits you. And
Yeah. Same point is degree is not a requirement. You don't need to have a degree. People are making careers without degrees now. Elon Musk is hiring people without degrees. Google is hiring people more than they've ever had.
Correct.
Having a degree does not give you an advantage. It is definitely not a disadvantage anymore.
And then adapt to the market. Market is changing. It's evolving quite fast. For those of who have, in our current generation, we've always heard, we heard, "Arey, 1983 mein recession aa gaya tha, all the shippies were out of work." Okay. Luckily for the last 2 decades, we didn't have that. But that can happen anytime, because we Indians, we are getting more expensive. So there will be a chance where they'll start giving, the crew jobs to somebody else. So, and you need to keep looking for what changes are happening out in the market. I mean, look at the Indian crew market. I mean, now mostly you will find Indian officers and Filipino crew. Indian crew ka market gaya. That market has shrunk. So the market is changing. There will come a time when even we as Indian officers will also have a much smaller market to compete in. Okay, and then now you're thinking of these new things. Look at Chat GPT. Naya cheez aa gaya. Everybody's talking about Chat GPT. It's changing the job market. The job market will change. So are you going to be prepared for it? Don't think that you can do the same job forever. You have to keep adapting to the market. And finally, don't be afraid of failure. Finally, you will do all your research, sab karoge, but just take a step. Take a step and don't be afraid. As just as Abhay and Amara saying, we people, we seafarers, we are intrinsically, we are very resilient. Kuch ho gaya, we can take those setbacks and we can again get up and do something more. So don't be afraid of failure. You think this is, ye aa gaya, 50% information mil gaya, 60% information mil gaya, think it's good for you, just go for it.
I'd like to add a bit more on this. कि ये जो jobs की बात कर रहे हो, because of my role, I do attend casualties and I also look at MLC contracts. So handy bulk carrier master जो है Eastern European, he's being paid about £4,000. We compare that to a Indian seafarer जो 8,000 के नीचे बात नहीं करता. मेट जो है 6,000 के नीचे बात नहीं करता. You tell that to a Greek ship owner, वो बोलेगा get lost. उसको दिवाली नहीं चाहिए. He's going to work longer. कोई उसको छुट्टी वगैरह नहीं चाहिए. खाने में उसको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. He will work the ship and he is more dedicated than us Indians. तो ship management जो है वो हमारे पास आई थी. We are still there in technical management. Manning जो है it went towards Philippines. थोड़ा चाइना की तरफ गई थी. What I see, it's now gone towards Eastern Europe. जो jobs वगैरह आ रहे हैं, पहले planning की companies आई थी, container planning की आई थी, वो they all went back. Companies got amalgamated. कईयों का centers are there in Bombay or other places. Those are large lines. Maersk वगैरह उनका backend is there, but they are being run by non-seafarers. पूना में है, बॉम्बे में है उनका. तो seafarers are very few. So the market dynamics are already changing. You are just not aware of it. And the time to upskill is now. हमारी ये आदत है कि भाई ये काम करेंगे, हमें ये नौकरी मिल जाएगी. हमने IAS कर लिया, हम पक्का हम रिटायर होंगे एट अ सर्टेन रोल, या हमने इंजीनियरिंग कर लिया हम इंजीनियर हो जाएंगे, या पीएससी ज्वाइन कर लिया गारंटीड वो प्रोग्रेशन है, दैट इज नो लॉन्गर देयर. सो shipping is changing, it is already changing, you are not seeing that while at sea, but it is changing. Upskill now into whatever you like, just venture into things. You won't lose anything, you'll only gain anything. If anything, you'll only gain things. And I hope your job is secure in shipping.
I'd like to add a point. At any point you feel ki, oh, now I need to do this, I need to upskill, I need to make this. Understand one thing, you're already late. Okay, people have gone ahead and done it. So you need to move, keep moving. Okay, that is important. The thing is, it's a dynamic environment. People, things keep changing.
Yep. So basically, I mean, I'll summarize the whole discussion, and then we'll take the.
Hey, Gaurav, I got one slide if I can share. I don't know if
Sure. You had the co-host, I believe you would have the rights to share. Or no?
so
Okay, wait.
if you can,
I
I can share, it would be nice.
need,
नीचे में center में है share screen.
no, I need to make him the host, the co-host.
अच्छा.
Okay, go ahead, Abhay. Hope you're able to share.
Just checking. One second. Okay. So there are a couple of, I'm just looking at this questions and all. So I just put this together on the top of my head before I got into this. So can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can. You want to make it on presentation mode? Yeah.
So what are the downside of a degree? People will talk about degree karna hai, ye ho jayega, wo ho jayega, but I think this is important to highlight. Beware of the pitfalls before you get into this. One, by doing a degree, what happened, I've seen this happen. I've done a couple of interviews. I mean, I shouldn't, probably not good to say, but another candidate from CAS itself. We interviewed him, and looking at a serious, we needed younger blood, we needed fresh blood, people to get and step in, But the guy was 26, maybe 25, 26, not older. Wanted somebody for the commercial role. He wanted to put somebody, in a training position, kind of grow and groom. I interviewed the guy, and they put me on the interview panel because I was also from CAS. So I went and I had a very, informal discussion with him initially, trying to make him comfortable and all that. But I was quite disappointed at the end of it. It just seemed to come off ki, I'm from CAS, so I don't have any competition. Which is the sense of entitlement, a snob value that comes with the degree. Huge pitfall, avoid it at all costs. Second thing, there is a degree fatigue. At some point, that your degree does not take you all the way. You cannot keep quoting your degree every second sentence that you speak. There's a point beyond which, you shouldn't, it shouldn't keep renaming your degree. Like they say, don't take the God's name in vain. There's a point we know, okay, you're from wherever you are, that's fine. You're from LBS, you're from here, you're from there. We got it. Yeah, we got it. We've read your resume. That's why you're sitting on the panel. I mean, sitting in the interview in front of this panel. So there's a degree fatigue. It get you to a certain point, a point beyond that, it doesn't get you. Do not over-invest in your degree. Get a degree, get a good degree, but over-investment in degree leads to a higher expectation. When you come with a higher expectation, it puts pressure on the person who's hiring you. So it can actually become a default. Okay, this guy's coming from LBS. He spent so much of fortune on his MBA. We know what it costs. But, what is the expectation? Don't expect great things at a very junior level. You will get them eventually. It is better to, under promise and over deliver. The biggest fear any employer has that they will get a limited value at a premium. If you pay you LBS wages, do we get the value for it? That is what matters. So do you want to put that pressure on yourself? You're coming into a company, coming into a fresh role. You don't know anything about the background, the people you're working with. Do you want to put that pressure on yourself? That's something you need to think about. And don't look at your degree on an ROI basis. I spent so much. At what point will I make my money back? It's an education. Okay. It's not a car you're buying, right? The other thing is the caution of a wrong hire. If somebody is hiring you, right, and it doesn't work out, it's bad for you, it's bad for the company. Now you're a bell around their neck. They need to take care of you. They need to fire you. They need to whatever. So if the company is also very cautious of a wrong hire, and companies are getting more and more cautious about wrong hires. So it's a double-edged sword. So keep that in mind. What are companies looking for? Number one, companies looking at a cultural fit, man. They don't want to spend admin time trying to correct wrongs that would not have occurred in the first place. They don't want to spend HR time trying to iron people's relationships out, right? We don't have to like each other. We have to work with each other. We need to have a working relationship. If you have anything beyond that, good for you. But it's not something that is compulsory. People who demonstrate a consistent hustle. Environment's changing. People need to constantly keep pushing. Just because you did this the last time around does not mean you'll do it again this time. The worst justification for not doing something is that we haven't done it before. The worst justification for doing something is because we've been done it like this always. That's the worst. It doesn't get worse than that. In this kind of dynamic environment, you need to have a fresher approach, a more open-minded approach. Listen to people, people's opinions. Things change, so don't go try and understand what the company is looking for. The company's culture, do you fit in that culture? That's very important. So they will judge. A company who's looking at you will look at you from where you are coming, which school, which college, who was your previous employer, so that basis that they will see, okay, this guy is like this personality type, company is coming from, will he gel with us, So if somebody has to do business with you, right? If you're a broker, say, if somebody has to do business with you, the first thing they will look for is, do they like you? They have to like you first. They have to trust you second. Third level is they do business with you. So that's something very important to keep in mind. What you should look for as a candidate, what you should be looking for in the future. Most important, your next boss. Who will you be working under? Right? People who influence you. Who will guide you, not guide you, prevent you from pitfalls, watch you drown. What kind of people are these? Right? People who influence you, that's what you're looking at. Who your next boss is, can I learn from this person? I think that's the single most important thing. Having said that, understand one thing, that you're looking more for the exception than the rule. Most people will look for themselves. They don't look for other people. So you're looking for the exception than the rule. So if you don't find it, don't feel bad. Keep looking. The upside of a degree, right? We spoke about the downside, blah, blah, blah. The upside of a degree is that it gets your foot in the door. Other than that, it's all up to you.
Gaurav, just to add one point to Abhay's slide on downsides. So oftentimes, when you have like an advanced degree, the kind of roles that you will then be applying for are you should be in the upper side of the ladder. So you are perceived as being little pricier. You can be overpriced. If I have to take one example, I can't give the name of the company, but a very, very one of the very prominent companies in the shipping world. So within the Netherlands, if you are having a master's degree, there is a minimum wage that you need to be paid, a minimum salary. So that company says, "Hey, boss, for the next 1 year, we don't want to hire any candidate who have a master's degree, because then I have to pay that minimum salary when I can do that same job with somebody who doesn't have a master's degree."
And they can't not do that. They cannot hire somebody with a master's degree and not pay them.
not pay
So
them. Yeah.
because even if you're willing to accept a lower wage, it doesn't mean they can't hire you. They have problems their end.
Yeah, great. So I wasn't prepared for it, but it's a very nice discussion on the downsides of a degree, and very rightly put. And it's also gives us the perspective from an employer, from an industry, how it looks like. Because when we are pursuing a degree, our only thought process is, what will help us, how will it help us, and that's what we are thinking. But the perspective of an employer and an industry may not come through, and this helps you while you are pursuing your degree, and how do you present yourself at that point of time. One thing which, and I guess this was Sandeep Guglani. I guess your answer has been, question has been answered in quite a bit of detail. One thing which we touched upon, but maybe it will help us to give a little bit more details in terms of the job scope, including the income. Do we feel that with the degree, are the areas where we go increases, and the salaries which we would earn without having that particular degree, the salaries would be much more? Amarinder?
I think yes, the roles where you go will increase because degree don't go just by the title, in that title you have done 3 or 4 modules and plus you've done 1 dissertation. So straight away, you've got 5 markets open. The other thing is, my personal view is ki don't specialize too early in your career, because then what happens, you end up on a branch of a tree and फिर आगे dead end है. So my view always has been stay on the main trunk, जितना ऊपर जा सकते हो जाओ, and then you go onto one of those routes where you specialize. So that's why I chose maritime law कि भाई आप कुछ मर्जी कर लो, कहीं पे भी dispute है, it will eventually end up here. So that's one thing. Can you repeat your question? Sorry.
No, I was asking in terms of will, after doing a degree, would you be earning more? Would you get more jobs as compared to when you were sailing?
Yes, you will definitely get that, because आप जब degree करते हो, you get into research, you get into formal writing, and this is one of the reasons why I say कि भाई correspondence करना चाहिए, because आपकी formal writing skills, especially अपने India में, they are lax. So once you learn that, you are able to present yourself better. अगर आप present better करते हो, आपका जो job offer आता है वो better आता है. Not many people know कि जो भी job आता है, आप you can negotiate it with a plus 10-15% range depending on how you portray it. And जो increase in salary, so not only do you get better, your other avenues open up, but आपका जो job में जो आपकी salary मिलती है, at least in the UK market, it goes up slightly. It's not as I think Abhay said, you don't look at return on investment, but yes, definitely slightly on an average जो है Office of National Statistics, तो वो कहते हैं भाई मास्टर्स लेवल वाले उनकी एवरेज सैलरी इधर है और जो हाई स्कूल ग्रेजुएट्स हैं उनकी यहाँ पे है. तो
But that depends on your employer. So
Yeah.
make sure that you are catering to somebody who respects the fact that you have a degree. You don't want to be put in the same bracket as everybody else.
Yeah, it's not only
That
the degree, it's
distinction.
degree, experience. There comes a time when degree falls to the side. I mean, my degree
It does.
is way back in the background. कोई वो नहीं पूछता. They only look at भाई experience कितना है. And
Correct.
the first question they ask is, can he manage this matter alone or not? So अभी I'm at a stage where partner just कहता है यार run this on your own, just keep me in copy and I will do that. So that means they trust you. वो ट्रस्ट लेने के लिए भी एज अवे सेड कि भाई वो आपका एम्प्लॉयर आपको ट्रस्ट करता है कि आप इसमें यू आर गोइंग टू मेक अ मेस अप ऑफ दिस और नॉट. तो वो टिल यू रीच दैट प्लेस वो एक्सपीरियंस से आता है. यू हैव टू कंटिन्यूअसली कीप ऑन वर्किंग ऑन इट. और वो स्ट्रेट अवे राइट फ्रॉम अ डिग्री, इफ यू आर थिंकिंग सैलरी ज्यादा मिल जाएगी वो ठीक है, बट इफ यू डोंट परफॉर्म विद इन बाय द एंड ऑफ योर प्रोबेशन पीरियड, possibly you may be sent out again. तो डिग्री हेल्प्स, सैलरी थोड़ी ज्यादा है, but then it starts on your performance.
Okay. Right. Persons can write their questions in the chat window, whosoever has questions. You had asked for a few institutes, Prateek did, and also Captain Vishal did. So I've sent you a link, both of you. You may have a look at it for your for the various courses that you could do. This is a question from Prince, and this is related to commercial. So I'll ask Abhay if you could answer this. Prince was looking at an MICS degree, right? Or not, it's not a degree, a qualification, ICS qualification. Your thoughts on it, please.
नहीं MICS करने का यार, if you are it's like, you know what Captain Brar said, just if you're looking at something like, you know, and in between try to get a taster, it's like a distance learning thing, right? You have to give exams and all that, everybody does. So it's like getting a taster of, you know, what insurance is, what chartering is. MICS lots of people do, so you should also do, but it's not going to give you some kind of a edge, you know. It's a small edge, I would say.
Correct.
Yeah, ICS का matter है तो I like to pitch in because yeah, I am the vice chair of the Netherlands branch. Okay, so तो करना ही पड़ेगा ना. So yeah, you know, getting the ICS qualification is no big deal. So you will get it. ठीक है, exams दे दो and you will get it. The biggest advantage with having the ICS qualification is about networking, and with where you are in your career, that will help you because right now with kind of networking, I mean, most shippies, I will tell you, we go जहाज पे जाओ, वापस आओ, you know, family वाली शादी पे जाओ, and then वापस जहाज पे जाओ. You know, that's all what we do. But here, what you'll have is you will have networking opportunities. To me personally, yeah, here in the Netherlands, I was one of the founder members of the Netherlands branch. For me, it helped a lot. Being a member of the ICS. So more than the knowledge aspect there, it's the networking that you get. Okay, and there are certain regions who really value the ICS credentials. If you look at Greece, you know, in Greece, if you have a ICS credential, you are already looked upon as ye to top hai. You know, similarly, the ICS credential is heavily validated in UK. There are lots of people there who know the qualification. So they know you. So the moment they see, ye to ICS wala member hai, it's a conversation opener. Okay, but ICS in the US, nobody knows ICS kya hai. Nobody knows there. ठीक है. Spain में जाओ, nobody knows ICS क्या है. Singapore में जाओ, it's a very well established branch there. It's a very easy way for you to start networking there. Similarly, Dubai, it's a very large branch, very easy for you to start networking there. And similarly, the ICS has got very good network opportunities in India, in Bombay as well as in Chennai. So ICS, I will highly recommend.
So shipping's about a warm handshake on the right and a glass of beer in the left.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think you have to be clear in what you would want to do when you're doing the degree, right? If you are thinking that just after doing the degree and putting it on your CV, it will get you a job in a commercial department, may not happen just because of that, right? You will have to do a lot of other things to get that job. So just, I mean, just so that we are you're aligned on the expectations after doing a particular course or a degree. Coming to Akshay's question, which sector in a marine is a sunrise sector? Akshay is asking, is it maritime finance, energy transition, or digitization? Your thoughts on this, Abhishek, you're the consultant over here.
Yeah, energy transition and digitalization, yeah, these are definitely booming sectors. And here, you know, I personally feel ye jo energy transition and digitalization hai, they are far too critical to just leave it to the technology guys or to the IT guys. You know, this is a business critical aspect. So that is why I strongly feel that we should have more and more seafarers, you know, with actual practical on the field knowledge to get into that. You know, I'll just give you one like an example. Okay, when people talk about energy transition and all, so yahan pe, you know, in the port of Rotterdam, They were going on one big project with regards to onshore power supply for tankers. Okay. I mean, all big folks talking about ye karenge, wire dalenge. And then you had people like myself and a couple of other master mariners who had actual practical experience on tankers, and then we explained them, boss, the maximum emissions that you will put out on a tanker while discharging comes from the boiler, and you cannot replace a boiler with onshore power supply, at least right now. That was like an eye opener for them. And then they eventually they decide to put that project on the back burner and concentrate more on maybe the ferries or the container ships for onshore power supply. So you see, the thing is, these things are happening, and these things are very systemic. So, and we people with our background and our experience, we have to contribute to this, and we can make it more efficient and far more optimized.
Yeah.
So if you'd ask me, sunrise sectors, one is eco-friendly shipping by carbon emissions, no question. Sustainability, ESG, big time. Secondly, blockchain, IoT, automation, supply chain management. Another major factor for logistics is last mile delivery. Last mile delivery is a big challenge. People are just going ballistic with it right now. The e-commerce aspect. So if you're looking at, if you're looking at Maersk is the next competition for Amazon. Amazon's not competing with Flipkart. Amazon's not competing with DHL. Amazon's competing with Maersk. Right? So e-commerce is a big factor. Data analytics. 5 years ago, you didn't have data. Make a phone call from the ship, you had to think 10 times. Now, in the last 5 years, you have so much data coming off the ship that you need people who can cut the data down to bring it down to something that can be used and can have something on the ground where you can actually make a change. So data analytics is a big factor. Another one is security, privacy, cybersecurity. These are all big factors. But of all these, where somebody with a marine background can step in, you can't step into any of these without doing something a little bit more.
Right. So Sea and Beyond is recruiting for 100+ companies right now. And and we know, what are the requirements, where the requirements come in. And there is a dearth of talent for maritime or business plus digital space, right? So if you are from a maritime background, sailing background, and if you can do a little bit of data analytics, right? It doesn't mean that you have to do Python, right? A simple BI, advanced Excel. I mean, what the company is looking at is, can you read and understand data, right? That's at a minimum. Can you process it? Process it using various tools, right? And if you can do that, and if you come into the market today, in a week or 10 days, you will have a job which will be at least 30, 40, 50% paying more rather than persons who wouldn't have that skill, right? And so if you are at a operations level, invest in that thing, maybe a 3-6 month course, you will benefit. If you're at a management level, also do it, but don't position yourself on the analysis on the analytics side. Position yourself as someone who can understand and provide inputs in terms of managing people who do this work. So that's from from the job market, I can say that this is something which is really hot. I see this last one question which has come from Ritvik. Would it be advisable to mid-career degree and then join back sailing? He's a second mate essentially. Ritvik is a second mate, and so you want to do a degree and then join back sailing. Okay, let's. I'm not sure. Let's hear from Amarinder.
I would not recommend that. I would say till mates, अपना सी टाइम खत्म करो, because the way MMD measures your C time is from OW time till master. तो वो जब तक वो 36 months आपके cover नहीं होते, depending on how it is assessed, वो don't slow down. And whenever you're thinking of a change, अगर आज कोई मुझे पूछता है भाई why did you think of a change, तो my answer is कि भाई I reached the end of that railway line, so finish that and then move ahead. दूसरी बात है, एज ए सेकेंड ऑफिसर आपने जो देखा है, आपका जो एक्सपीरियंस है, दैट आई थिंक इज स्लाइटली लेस कंपेयर टू अ मैनेजमेंट लेवल ऑफिसर, चाहे करे वो कुछ भी नहीं, बट द वे यू हैव टू थिंक, द वे यू हैव टू हैंडल क्रू, द वे यू हैव टू हैंडल आंसर्स, रिस्पॉन्सेस टू क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम ऑफिस, रिस्पॉन्ड टू सुपरिटेंडेंट, वो फर्क पड़ता है. तो आई थिंक इफ यू डू अ डिग्री एज अ सेकेंड मेट, तो नॉट ओनली, अच्छा दूसरी बात है, प्रमोशन के लिए शिपिंग जो है ना वो बहुत जल्दी चेंज होती है. तो वो इफ देयर इज एन इन्फ्लक्स ऑफ जूनियर ऑफिसर्स, एंड इफ यू आर अहेड ऑफ द कर्व नाउ, तो फिर इफ यू टेक अ ब्रेक, बाय द टाइम यू कम बैक, आपके आगे इतने ज्यादा लोग होंगे फॉर प्रमोशन कि आपकी प्रमोशन होल्ड बैक हो जाती है. सो माय सजेशन वुड बी, डोंट टेक अ ब्रेक फॉर अ डिग्री नाउ, finish your free time, get your master mate license, and then in that period of between mate and master का अपना exam दे लो, उसके बाद and then go for a degree full time, if you want to stop saving. हाँ, correspondence, do that, but my view is again after mates, free time मत रोको, that's the key. Finish one career and then move on to the next one.
Abhishek or Abhay, would you want to comment?
Yeah, I just say one thing, that if you depend what you want to do. Yeah, there's a guy I know whose second mate decided to go open a shipbroking company and started broking. I didn't think it was a smart move, but that's what he wanted to do. He was very, very clear. He kept pushing. Today also he's pushing. He's done a couple of deals, but whether it's going to be sustainable enough to, for somebody to decide that I want to give my daughter to this man to marry without a sustainable income, that is something that he has to decide for himself. But people have taken very, very bold decisions. But when I came off the ship, I had a very clear agenda in my mind for myself, and I speak for myself because I know my position best. Everybody else has to decide for themselves, but I was very clear कि boss पहले कप्तान बनने का, command लेने का, and then decide to do whatever you want to do. The sooner I get my command, the better off I am. So I planned my career accordingly. Where will I get my fastest promotion? Where will I get my fastest command? I didn't look at the money. I only looked at the quality of ships I was going on, and I was looking at my promotion. So, because once you get off the ship, people don't know Chief Officer Abhay Kumar. It doesn't mean anything. Second mate means nothing. Captain बोलेगा तो हाँ ठीक है. People address you as captain. Your friends address you as captain because that's what sticks out. People don't know your first name, but they will know you that you are a master mariner or you are a captain. Even in social circles, I find that a little odd, but that's how it is. That's how people perceive you. So basically, on the back of what Amar is saying, I would say that पहले अपना कप्तानी खत्म, command लो, कप्तानी खत्म करो, फिर आगे देखो क्या करना है. And sooner you decide to get your command, the sooner you get it, the more leeway you have to make mistakes, more leeway you have to take chances. So getting out in the middle of your career, if you want to get off and do Python and data analytics, it doesn't matter. You want to do a shipbroking degree, it doesn't matter. But if you want to come out and say, okay, I want to go and stand in a legal court and give my opinion as an expert witness, then saying you're a second mate is not going to help. You need to be a captain. You need to have like what Amar is doing. He's standing there as a master mariner and saying, okay, I have this experience and I have that experience, and I'm telling you that this is what you should do. So it holds more weightage. Simply because your client is deciding, do I spend this much money, X amount of money on fighting a legal battle, or do I, cut the cord right now and cut and run and take whatever I get right now. So credibility comes from experience. Experience comes from position. Position is, in this case, captain. So that's what matters. Yeah. So it depends what you want to do, but in 8 cases out of 10, I would say it makes sense to get your command.
Amar, you've raised your hand.
Yeah, I'd like to add something. So, I did mention about family. So on my end, कप्तानी मिल गई, शादी हो गई. I had a mortgage, EMI जा रहे थे, वो सेल दबा के किया, paid it off. My father, he retired from the army, pension थी, तो my fund ever clear कि यार घर अपना हो गया, EMI का कोई कॉल नहीं आएगा. जो फादर की पेंशन इतनी है कि यार बिजली का बिल और खाना मिल जाएगा. तो once you are unshackled, you can take more risks. क्योंकि मेरी अभी liability कोई नहीं है, मुझे कोई रोक नहीं सकता. And I had a child on my way. So worst thing क्या था? I would lose and I would come back to sea. And I've never looked back from there. So that's another reason why I always say कि भाई डिग्री खत्म करो, फैमिली कमिटमेंट्स वगैरह सिक्योर करो, वो बाय द टाइम यू आर मास्टर, एक दो कमांड हो जाते हैं आपके, यू आर ऑल सेटल्ड देयर एंड देन यू आर फ्री. फिर आपने यू टेक योर फ्लाइट इन शिपिंग और वेयर एवर यू वांट टू, एंड देन फिर आपको कोई रोकने वाला नहीं.
Abhishek.
Yeah, slightly differing view. Okay, so एक तो क्या है, second mate, if he wants to do a degree, अगर पढ़ने का कीड़ा है, you want to really study, you want to do something, study, then do it now. ठीक है? And if you are somebody, if you're saying that you want to get back to sea, you are somebody who loves sailing, then absolutely go back to sea. My funda is कि boss, whatever job you're doing, try to be the best at it. Okay, and you can't be the best at it, you can't become a master or a captain commanding people, okay, in a stressful situation if you don't love the job. Okay, so if you don't like sailing, boss, please don't make life miserable for everybody on board. Abhi nikal jao yaar. There are lots of things you can do. If you're spent only 5 years out at sea or 6 years out at sea, that is nothing. You are going to be working till you're 70 years old. ठीक है? अगर if you have only sailed 5-6 years, you can change careers, change sectors, change industry anytime you want. Do something more. ठीक है? पर पढ़ने का कीड़ा है तो अभी पढ़ो and then come back to sea, no problem. But please, if you want to stay out at sea, you have to be loving the job.
Yeah,
Because
but one
you are
point,
setting-
Abhishek, here. One point here. I've seen people who tried to come ashore and then family commitment happened, had to go back, then tickets got delayed, then had to go back, and then don't fall in that trap. What Captain Brar is saying, no, you secure your launch pad here. Once you cross the bridge, don't come back. So goes back to what I was saying earlier, don't half-ass it. Don't put yourself in a
Correct,
position where you're forced to half-ass it.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you're going to go, then go the whole hog. Position yourself in such a way that you don't have any commitments. You've got 1 year of clear, money coming in, and you're willing to, live in that budget and, blah, blah, blah. So just make sure that once you go. Don't put yourself in a position where you knowingly know that, okay, if I get fucked, I'm going to have to come back to sea. That should not happen.
I would also add, sorry.
Go ahead, Maninder.
देखो, पढ़ने का कीड़ा है यार, शिपिंग की पढ़ाई कर लो ना, पहले वो खत्म तो करो. बहुत आसान है, 2 पेपर देने हैं, दे लो, लाइसेंस क्लियर कर लो. रोज सिलेबस बढ़ रहा है, सिलेबस कम नहीं हो रहा, तो फिनिश दिस, उसके बाद जिधर जाना जाओ.
Correct.
Let me I have a slightly different opinion, and I'll tell you why. During our time, the market was fairly right, and that was one of the main reasons why we got command at 27, 28, whatever 30. Right now, persons are equally bright, but the average age of getting a command is probably, if earlier it was 30, 31, it is now gone to 35, 37 or so, right? Now, if you get command, and on an average, right? Now, if the average age of getting command now is 34, 35, by that time, you have more liabilities on a personal level, right? At a professional level, also a company looks at a 30-year-old in a different way as opposed to, how a company looks at a 36-year-old, right? Honestly, in my view, what I think is, if you want to stick into, say, the core ship management, right, or say maritime law, right? So basically, if you want to stick into HSEQ, if you want to go into technical management, if you want to, be probably maritime law to a certain set, or a surveyor, right? a master's experience counts a lot, or chief engineer's experience counts a lot.
Yeah. No doubt.
But if you are looking to probably get into ports, logistics, supply chain, for that matter, commercial shipping, right? After a certain time, sailed as a in the top four may not bring so much of value. Right? It does, of course, every time it will. But that 5 years that you spend in sea, and if you are 30-year-old and you are still a second officer and you still want to stay another 6 years and then get back to education, maybe touch and go at that point of time. So that's my view, honestly. And there were not many jobs earlier, 6-7 years back, for a second officer. Now, say about 3 years back, a second as a master was earning 24 lakhs in India. Nowadays, a third engineer, second officer can earn about 22-23 lakhs taking a short job, right? So the dynamics have changed. So I think it's okay, but you just have to ensure that where do you want to get into.
I'd like
Yeah,
to add
but
one more
don't-
thing. Sorry.
Once you move and you decide, okay, I want to stop sailing, don't walk into a situation where you get into a trap, because that is very, very painful, because you are not ashore, you are not home, you're not sailing with full commitment. Don't put yourself in that position. Matlab, look before you leap is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
My other मेरा थोड़ा सा व्यू फर्क है अभी जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आई एम श्योर अबे का भी ऐसा था कि when I was sailing I would do उस टाइम पे contracts were also long I would do that coming
Yeah.
from a foreign background उस टाइम पे annual leave पापा को मिलती थी 2 महीने की 60 days so मेरा ये नहीं था कि 6 महीने सेल करो 6 महीने घर रहो I would stay home for 2 months and then back on a ship because promotion का जो criteria है for any company is actually 2.5 fold. One is, do you have the next COC? Next COC is very easy. You can get it by 26. No problem about it. The other criteria is time in rank. Time in rank जिसका ज्यादा है when they look for promotion, वो system में ऊपर पहले आता है. और तीसरी चीज वो जो देखते हैं, that is loyalty. So if you don't switch companies, if you finish your sea time quickly, if you stick to about when you are not married, family commitments कम है, उनको पता है family वालों को यार लड़का 20-22 का है, he has to set up his career. So by about 20 to 26, आपका जो actual sea time है, which pops in the system to go up for promotion, वो बहुत ऊपर आप push कर सकते हो. But if you want to do यार मैं 6 महीने करें और मैं 6 महीने घर में बैठा हूँ, so don't be surprised अगर आपकी promotion 35 पे होती है, and then when you're looking for a career कि मैं बीच में degree वगैरह करूँगा. So you have to you have to make that effort. You have to make some sacrifices. You have to put into your future, and do it while you have time. Don't do 6 months off. Just do 2 months off. That's enough to refresh yourself. Go to a good hotel. जहाँ पे भी छुट्टी जाना जाओ आराम से. You can afford it. Do that. Get back on sailing because there's only 2 criteria: sea time and next COC. Bas. And if you stick to a company, well, they'll do that. And once you become a mate, try to stick in the same pool under the same superintendent. आपकी promotion जल्दी होगी. So do that, and if not by 28, 29, maybe by 31. But again, you are clear to move ashore जहाँ पे भी आपने जाना. And during this time, you mentioned Power BI वगैरह. It's very easy. आजकल ships पे internet है, online free videos है, और ये इंस्टा और फेसबुक वगैरह पे भी लोग देते हैं सैंपल्स, और शिप के ऊपर भी वो सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल्ड है. नहीं है तो आप एडवांस एक्सेल तो आप कर ही सकते हो. So all this data analytics is very easy to learn. I mean, if you're focused within a month,
And I know people who have done it. They are running software companies right now. कप्तान है, सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनी रन कर रहा है, AI मशीन लर्निंग. मैं उसको ही फोन करता हूँ मेरे को प्रॉब्लम होती तो.
तो ये है. So it is achievable, but if you want to do 6 on 6 off and you say मेरी promotion नहीं हो रही by 35, I'm sorry boss, you have made wrong
Right.
choices in life. Focus on yourself.
All right. I think to each his own. It depends where you are, what you want to do, and these are generic advices that we have given. But if you really need a specific advice to yourselves, that's one of the reason why I started CN Beyond 8 years back, to help people take a well-informed professional decision, and that's the basis which we have been following. So you may connect to one of our counselors, write a email message to education@cnbeyond.com if you need any specific advice. And we should be, able to either help you ourselves, or there are a host of experts, about 50, 60 odd experts on our panel who could guide you, right? And a lot of people have taken that advice. And like what we told Amarinder, Abhay, Abhishek, me, we didn't take advice at that stage, right? So take advice from people who have done it.
No, wait. When I went to CAS, no, I got a Sida pointed guy. One of my friends told me straight off the bat, because if you've gotten, just go. But I got only one guy. I could verify that.
When you did CAS, there were I see there were a lot of people who were doing CAS that point of time. There was, I think, a little less awareness about other institutes. So point taken. So the point that I'm trying to make is that connect with us. We might be able to support you, connect with the experts that we have on panel, or maybe anyone else on the LinkedIn as well, who should be able to.
I put my number in the chat box if anybody wants to talk and call.
Okay. We didn't see that, or I don't know. I probably missed it. Abhishek, you wanted to say something. Sorry, I carried on. Is it or no?
No, nothing. Thanks.
Right. Let's take this one final last question. It's more than 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes. I know a lot of us had a hard stop. So Prateek has been ashore for 5 years working in HSE. He's wanting to move on now, right? And he has done MBA, most likely a distance learning. Any advice for him? He doesn't want to go back to SAIL, is what I understand. Amarinder, any advice from you?
देखो HSE में हो ना, you are at a core point in shore side management, because आप incidents भी देखते हो, आप casualties भी देखते हो, आप investigation भी करते हो, and sorry, if you think degree करके आप कहीं और जाओगे, I would not recommend that. I would say you are already ashore. Do something, try to move into commercial, try to move into the other parts of your own company that interest you. That will be very easy for you. You are not changing employer, people know you, and sometimes it's just good to just walk up to the department and say, Dekho, I'm interested to moving into this side. Kya karna hai, or what more should I know? So I think you can do that very easily. You are already ashore, and HSE is only one department. So whatever interests you, you can move in over there.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Amarinder. Tejal, can you take the last 2 polls which we had, and one is on the is anyone interested to do a course right now or not? Seeing the kind of comments that we had given, and then the next one, which is on the feedback. I can't see the poll, Tejal, so let me know once you've shared the poll.
Yeah, so once.
Have you shared the poll?
So is the poll visible?
Not to me, for whatever reason, I think I'm not able to see the poll.
No, it shows up. It's showing up.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
Great. You may manage this, Tejal. Once you see enough responses, you may close and then move to the last poll, and then we'll close it.
Yes, sir.
Only about 50% have responded so far. So I'm just waiting for others. 16 candidates have responded out of 30.
So you have more candidates, Tejal, you can accordingly Maybe you can stop if you've got about 60-70% votes.
I'm launching the feedback poll.
Okay.
So I see there are a certain percentage who have said no. I think honestly, if you ask me, I think they have got the most takeaways from the webinar, because now they're absolutely sure they don't want to do. so it's good. Like how Abhay was saying earlier, it's very important to know what you don't want to do in life. So I'm very happy that there is at least somebody who's saying no. Good. Very decisive. Very nice.
Yeah. It's difficult to say no, honestly. Great. You're done with the feedback poll as well, Tejal?
Yes, sir. Sharing the result. I've shared the result.
All right. Do summarize the results here. I'm not able to see it.
So the poll have been ended. I will just share the screenshot with you later.
Okay. Okay. No problem. All right. Right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We've got 30 of us waiting for close to 2.5 hours. So I'm hoping that we were able to provide some information which would be useful to you in your career and your family as well. Can't thank you enough to all the three presenters, Abhay, Amrinder, Abhishek. I've leaned on you from the start when we had started CNB and all three of you, and then you've guided, supported me. Thank you so much, and more importantly, supported the maritime fraternity in helping to take a well-informed decision, whatever decision that may be. And then thanks so much for it. Appreciate all three of you for your time, and of course all the participants as well. Thank you, guys.
We managed to keep 35 people online for 2.5 hours. That's
Yeah,
pretty
we
amazing,
might
man.
have definitely said something valuable.
This is a record of some kind. In today's world, I think it's a very, very big thing.
Yeah. No, but thanks, Gaurav. Thanks, Tejal. Thanks for arranging this. And yeah, I mean, at least from my side, yeah, as much as I can help the seafaring fraternity, we all come from the same background. Yeah. So how much we can help, definitely want to. And to me personally, there's for me interacting with current sailing fraternity is very important, because then you're learning how the market is changing, and what kind of needs are there from you guys out at sea. So as I said, as we all were saying, the market evolves. So it's important for us to be in touch with guys like you. What is it that you need? We are here to help and learn from you. We also learn a lot from you.
Absolutely. Right then.